Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. So guys, there's breaking news. Anthony Joshua will take on Oleksandr Usyk in June, apparently, according to Hearn. This hasn't been confirmed, of course, but they're talking about a fight in June. It looks like, obviously, we knew that Usyk was going through all the troubles, and Usyk was having issues with, with the stuff going on with the war and stuff. So, Usyk was obviously switched off from boxing, and we thought that, he was I don't know, he was helping out with the stuff going on in Ukraine. So now it seems like we're going to have the rematch, and maybe Usyk has got exemption that he can continue his career, and it looks like he will be coming here to the UK to fight Anthony Joshua in June. What do I make of this? I think Anthony Joshua had nowhere to go. Personally, I think he had nowhere to go. I think this fight had to happen. Just because, if Anthony Joshua didn't take the fight and try to look for another fight, people would have ridiculed him. So he had no choice but to take this fight. Do I think it's the best move for his career? No. Unfortunately, I don't think it's the best. I think he needs more time to develop. And I think the right move would be for him to fight somebody else, gain some confidence, gain some experience, and then probably give himself the best opportunity now that he's with a new trainer and he's no longer going to be Rob McCracken. To hone his skills, improve his skills, figure out a game plan on how he's going to beat Usyk. And I actually think it was a blessing in disguise. Like, obviously not a great thing what was happening in Ukraine, but for Joshua, I thought it was time, an opportunity for him to develop his skills and gain some confidence, and then maybe have a rematch with Usyk later on in the year or maybe next year. But as things have turned out, it looks like, that the Usyk rematch is going to happen. How do I see this? How do I see this playing out? I only see this one way. I think Usyk will win again. I think he'll win quite emphatically. I don't see Joshua standing much of a shot, to be honest. I'm just going off what I saw in the first fight. And to be honest with you, I didn't think he'd beat him first time round. I'm now even more confident that Usyk has sussed him out and Usyk knows what to expect. And a lot of people say, well, Joshua fought the wrong fight. Joshua fought the best he could fight. You're not going to see Joshua all of a sudden come out and go reckless. That's just not Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is not going to come out and go after Usyk. He knows that if he gets hit with a good shot, he could go over. Hence why he's become so fragile, because he knows he doesn't want to get hit, because he doesn't want to be humiliated like he was against Ruiz. And also, Joshua doesn't have the greatest gas tank. So it's all right saying, well, all he needs to do is put pressure on him and go, just go gung-ho and let caution to the wind. That's easier said than done. When a guy's struggling mentally, right, and he doesn't want to get hit with shots, and he knows that his gas tank can run out, there's a lot of things going off in his head. So when people are speaking from the outside, it's a lot easier when you're inside the ring. It's a bit like, Anthony Joshua is a bit like a guy who's been in a car crash, and he's now afraid to go back into that car and put his foot down on the gas, because he just can't pull the trigger. He can't do it. And Anthony Joshua is a bit like that for me. How is he going to get over it? It takes time. And some people can never get over it. Some people can never get back to their best. These type of things, knockouts, car crashes, these things affect you. And sometimes it leaves you never the same after that. And Anthony Joshua has never been the same after the Ruiz fight. That totally knocked the stuffing out of him and knocked the confidence for 6. It's not no hating on him. That's just what we see. If you want to blind yourself from reality, and you want to blind yourself from the fact what's going on, then that's up to you. You can be a fanboy and fanboy AJ if you want. I'm just telling you what the truth is and what I see. I see a guy that's cautious now. I see a guy that's mentally more fragile, and that's not hating on him. That's just stating facts. People don't like to hear the truth, because if you don't want to see the truth and you want to hide yourself from the truth because you're a fan of his, then keep doing it. Keep doing it. But the reality will hit you in the face like it did when it was Usyk. I said after the Ruiz second fight that Joshua didn't look good. Joshua looked kind of flaky, looked kind of like shaky in that ring against Pulev and Ruiz. And a lot of his fans were, no, he looked great. You're hating on him. Look, he looked great. He did a job. And then again, when he came up against a more assured boxer, he got taken apart. And he'll get taken apart again because I don't think Joshua's the same guy. It's going to be very difficult. And Joshua's been acting very strange on social media of late as well. Like, people are saying, well, yeah, I like this Joshua. How is acting like he's acting on social media gonna change what he does in the ring? Because you can act tough in real life or act tough, but when you get back in that ring, it's gonna be the same old AJ. It's not by you acting tough on Twitter or you acting differently on Twitter isn't gonna change you inside the ring. Him acting more ruthless outside the ring isn't gonna change him inside the ring. Because those demons that he's suffering are still there, whether he's acting tough or not, in or outside the ring. I just think he's been acting very strange on Twitter. It's not like him. And maybe he's upset by the criticism. Maybe he's affected by the criticism. But to be honest with you, inside the ring, I don't see him beating Oleksandr Usyk. I think Usyk's probably the best heavyweight out there. You know, I think him and Fury, and I think Usyk could beat Fury as well. I think Usyk's that good. I've said it for a long time now. That Oleksandr Usyk is an exceptional talent. You know, he's up there with Canelo and Crawford as the best fighter in the world, without question. The way he just dismantled AJ, it wasn't even hard for him. You know, I would say Brady's fight was harder than the AJ fight. The AJ fight wasn't even that hard. He totally dismantled AJ. You know, so I'm just gonna be honest. I think he'll do it again, and I think he'll be more emphatic this time because I think Usyk will be a lot more confident. Usyk will believe in himself a lot more because when he went into that first fight with AJ, there was definitely self-doubt there, without question. You're going in against a really big guy, a guy that can punch. There would have been self-doubt there, but as soon as now that he's gone in there and felt Joshua's power, knows he can take his power, I think you're going to see a lot more confident AJ. A lot more confident Usyk, because he now knows he can hurt this guy as well, which, again, he wouldn't have known going into the first fight, because at the end of the day, when he fought Chisora, he didn't look too good. Chisora was very tough, but Chisora, I said to people, Chisora has a different style. AJ likes to box at range. That's another thing. So you're basically asking AJ to change his style and become a bit like a Chisora pressure fighter. That's not AJ's style. AJ's a guy that boxes at range. He sets his shots up, but he's coming up against somebody who's much better than him at that. Joshua can't beat Usyk at range, but that's what he does best. That's how he beats most guys. So what are you now expecting him to do, become a Chisora? He's not Chisora. He can't fight like that. He ain't got the chin of Chisora. He ain't got the gas tank of Chisora. I don't even believe he's got the physical strength and the roughness and toughness and the kind of... Chisora has that roughness about him. AJ doesn't. You know, and yeah, AJ's a better fighter than Chisora. I remember Ray saying, well, AJ's way better than Chisora. Yeah, but he's not better than Chisora at pressure fighting. Yeah, he's a better overall, more complete boxer than Chisora. Of course he is. Look at what AJ's achieved compared to Chisora. But the fact of the matter is he's not a better pressure fighter than Chisora. Chisora is better pressure fighter than AJ. Hence why he gave Usyk a tough fight. But Joshua can't do that. Joshua ain't got the chin to do that. He ain't got the gas tank to do that. If he does, he'll get himself into trouble. Because Usyk can hurt Joshua. We've already seen that. He had him on wobbly legs on several occasions in that fight. And Usyk's not even a big puncher. Usyk could, like, even Chaz Weatherspoon didn't wobble against him. And AJ was all over the place a couple of times in that fight. This is what I mean when people say that AJ is very vulnerable at this point. You know, he's very vulnerable. From what I've seen, unless we have a completely different guy enter the ring, yeah, he's I think the problem that AJ is having is mentally more than physically. I think he's physically in great shape. He's fit. He's strong. I think the stuff he's suffering with is mentally. And that's why a lot of people said he needs to get some kind of psychological help or whatever. I don't know what he can do. Lennox Lewis was very shaky when he got knocked out. But Lennox Lewis, for me, was mentally a lot stronger, or he proved to be mentally a lot stronger. AJ, at this point, as of right now, hasn't really proved to be mentally stronger. And a lot of AJ fans won't like me saying this, but I think he's kind of on the decline. I think he's peaked. I don't personally think AJ, like, if he does, I'll give him credit. If he does get better and pulls off this win against Usyk, I'll come out and hold my hands out and say I was wrong. But I think AJ's peaked. I don't think he's going to get any better than this. I think he's mentally not the same guy. And I think he's an accident waiting to happen. He's there. I think anytime he gets in a difficult spot, I think there's a chance he may capitulate. This is why, even though I think Anthony Joshua would beat someone like Joe Joyce, who I don't rate very highly, you can never be confident going into a Joshua fight anymore, because Joshua has that self-destruct kind of button where he can capitulate. We've seen it against Ruiz, Usyk. I felt in the Usyk fight, he didn't go all in because he didn't want to get knocked out. He didn't want to suffer the same defeat that he suffered against Ruiz. Hence why I think he kind of just went through the motions and kind of drifted to a points loss, even though he knew he was going to lose that fight. Up until a certain point, you knew after about 9-10 rounds that he weren't winning that fight. He could have easily thrown caution to the wind, but he didn't, because he didn't want to get knocked out. And in the last round, he almost did get taken out. He was almost, if there was about 20 seconds left, he probably would have got knocked out. Referee would have jumped in, because he's all over the place. He's all over the place. And look at the way AJ slumped back to his corner. He was literally gassed. And he wasn't even doing anything. It was Usyk that was doing the hitting. And Usyk went into the center ring and kind of looked up and kneeled down, and then, knew he had won the fight and started celebrating. Whereas Joshua just kind of trying to make, holding the ropes, trying to get back to the corner. Look at the different reactions that they had at the end of the fight. One man looked totally gassed and finished, and the other man looked full of energy and ready to go a couple of more rounds. And AJ was meant to be the bigger, stronger guy in there, and Usyk was meant to be the smaller guy that was feeling the pace. But for me, Usyk was just so comfortable, so relaxed. See, Usyk's very good at being comfortable in uncomfortable positions, whereas Joshua, even when he's comfortable, I feel like he's uncomfortable. Like he's drained. Like a lot of energy is being drained when AJ's fighting. And someone like Usyk drained him. That's why, even though it wasn't like a Klitschko type fight, I think mentally Usyk drained Joshua a lot. Look, I hope Joshua can get back to his best, because Joshua's a great fighter. He's got a great resume. He's had a great career. I'm just giving you the assessment of what I see. I think it's going to be very difficult for him to get back to where he was. I hope he does. Look, I think Joshua's been great. I think what he's done for British boxing in terms of filling out stadiums, filling out arenas, doing all of that, I think it's been great. I think he's done really well. I do think the British public now are jumping ship, because I think they realise that Fury's the better fighter out of the two, and there's more chance that Fury's going to do a lot more than AJ. And I think people have realised that now. Hence why you've seen the reaction. The fans are getting behind watching Tyson Fury. 100,000 tickets have been sold out quick. I think although it's a big fight and it's not, Tyson Fury's not fighting a nobody, he's fighting Dillian White, I think people have also realised that he's the number one heavyweight from the UK, and by quite a long way. And he's the number one heavyweight in the heavyweight division. I still like to see Fury fight Usyk. But yeah, it's going to be difficult now for AJ to get back to the top, especially with the two champions. I don't see him beating either guy. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't even favour him against Wilder. I'd probably favour AJ against everybody else, bar those three names. I wouldn't put my house on it that he beats everybody else apart from those three names. Because like I said, I think there is a Ruiz moment in AJ. He's just vulnerable like that. But I would favour him against every other heavyweight if their name's not Wilder, Usyk, or Wilder, Usyk, and Fury. I would favour Joshua against everybody else. Just those three, I think, beat him. But yeah, so that's why he's still a top heavyweight. But again, if he does lose to Usyk again, I think that's going to affect him more mentally. I think it's going to affect his game even more. So it just depends. I feel he'll lose to Usyk again. And then it just depends on how he comes back from that defeat. Because Joshua seems the type of guy that is really affected by defeats. You know, so how's he going to come back? That's the main thing. Like, even though he came back from the Ruiz fight, I think Ruiz, out of shape, didn't help himself. But even in that fight, AJ didn't look self-assured to me. He looked kind of shaky in that fight. He looked kind of vulnerable in that fight. It's just that Ruiz had nothing to give. Like, Ruiz was out of shape. But Joshua fought a very good fight. But at the end of the day, he didn't look comfortable in there. He just looked a bit shaky. And even the Pulev fight, wasn't that impressed. And then he fought someone that was good and got beat quite soundly. But yeah, leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about this fight. Who do you think wins? I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.